It's interesting to see how manipulation tactics are used by the anti-gun lobby to trick the average American into thinking that there's some large grassroots movements to push gun control. Hey guys, I'm Tiffany and you're watching One in the Chamber. Today we're taking a look at how these anti-gun movements are funded. If you spoke to someone with anti-gun views, you'd probably hear stories about the evil firearms industry and how the industry funnels millions upon millions of dollars from firearms corporations into elected officials' pockets to then push for less restrictions on firearms. This simple-minded explanation could not be further from the truth. Firearms lobbying groups like GOA are funded by regular people, with many people giving whatever they can afford to fight for their Second Amendment rights. On the other hand, major anti-gun organizations are funded by a small group of billionaire donors. For example, just take the group March for Our Lives. They were founded during the aftermath of the tragic mass murder at the high school in Parkland, Florida. March for Our Lives bills itself as a grassroots movement of young people working to restrict the average citizen's Second Amendment rights. In reality, they're funded by about 36 wealthy donors. According to March for Our Lives tax documents, the group is funded almost entirely by large donations in excess of $100,000. And according to that same report, only 0.5% of donations came from people giving less than $5,000. It's ironic that a movement that claims to be organic and grassroots relies so heavily on large donations. Donations from billionaires like Michael Bloomberg, who in a 2014 interview with Rolling Stone was quoted as saying, "If you want to have a gun in your house, I think you're pretty stupid, particularly if you have kids, but I guess you have the right to do that." I find it interesting that someone surrounded by armed security 24/7 disparages those who can't afford to pay for security services, but still want to defend themselves and their families.
How do you justify pushing for more gun control when you have an armed security detail that is likely equipped with the same firearms and magazines that you seek to ban the common citizen from owning? Does your life matter more than mine or my family's or these people's?
All right. Look, I probably get 40 or 50 threats every week, okay? And some of them are real. That just happens when you're the mayor of New York City or you're very wealthy and if you're campaigning for President of the United States, you get lots of threats. So I have a security detail. I pay for it all myself. And, you know, they're all retired police officers who are very well trained in firearms.
Other billionaires that support gun control include Warren Buffett, who sits on the advisory board of Bloomberg's organization Everytown for Gun Safety. And no list of anti-gun billionaires is complete without mentioning Bill Gates and George Soros, who've both made large donations to anti-gun organizations like Brady. Gun control isn't even a serious issue to most average Americans. It barely ranks in a survey from Gallup, coming in at 18 on the list of non-economic problems. And support for gun control has been dwindling since the wild year that was 2020. According to Gallup, support for gun control is at its lowest point in decades. So why do these billionaires support gun control? Well, it's pretty simple. They think they know how you should live. This is pretty evident from Bloomberg's term as mayor of New York City. During his tenure, he implemented a soda tax and a ban on large capacity sodas because he felt that the average citizen was too irresponsible to have the option of a large soda.
I don't think that we should restrict you from drinking full sugar drinks. I do think we have an obligation to explain to you that that is not good for your health. And one of the ways to explain is we're going to require that restaurants and movie theaters, if you want to drink more than 16 ounces, they sell it to you, but they sell it to you in multiple containers, that no container should be bigger than 16 ounces. If it's got to come in 2 cups, so be it.
But you're regulating business. I mean, you know that a lot of Republicans say this is the nanny state.
Yeah, they just say that. We regulate and protect the health of lots of people in lots of different ways.
These billionaires feel as though nobody needs a firearm, but when you have armed security around for 24/7, it's easy to feel removed from the realities faced by everyday Americans who just want to defend themselves and their families. Meanwhile, groups like Gun Owners of America rely almost entirely on small donations from regular individuals to operate. But until recently, those donations came directly from those interested in becoming members of GOA. GOA announced a partnership with Gearfire. For those who don't know, Gearfire is one of the largest point-of-sale system providers for gun ranges, gun shops, and firearms training facilities around the country. The partnership allows patrons of firearms businesses to round up their purchase and donate the funds to GOA's Second Amendment Preservation Fund. And Kaylee Neiman, GOA's Director of Development, issued the following statement. Gun stores and ranges are the lifeblood of the Second Amendment. We are thrilled to be working with Gearfire and retailers across the country. We have never compromised on the Second Amendment, and it is partnerships like these that not only help fuel that mission, but strengthen our efforts. This partnership is an opportunity for average Americans to fight back against the billionaire class that wants to see them disarmed and the Second Amendment completely abolished. And because of donations from average Americans, GOA is able to continue fighting on Capitol Hill, where we work with U.S. senators and congressmen to pass pro-gun legislation like the SHORT Act and more. But the work doesn't stop on Capitol Hill, of course. We're also in the courts fighting to overturn bad laws in the anti-gun states and at the federal level. Notable cases include Texas v. ATF, challenging the ATF's pistol brace rule, Morehouse v. ATF, challenging the ATF's ghost gun rule, and Antoniuk v. Hochul, which deals with New York's post-Bruin ban on carrying a firearm in sensitive places. So there you have it. The anti-gun movement is not as grassroots as it seems, but for GOA, small donations from our grassroots network help us achieve these goals. Anyways, thanks for watching, and of course share these videos with your friends, your family, and of course your crazy Aunt Karen.